Good afternoon. My name is Josh Phillips, and I'm going to be teaching you how I make my in-home famous pork barbecue spare ribs. First off, I'm going to go into the food I use, then I'm going to talk about the tools necessary, and then a little bit about food safety. First, I use racks of pork spare ribs. I first cut it from the package. I salt it, pepper it, and put garlic powder on it. And then I pour my homemade barbecue sauce on it and then marinate it in the fridge for at least 2 hours, wrapped in tinfoil. Secondly, the tools that I use for this cooking process are obviously the grill. Little bonus is that I have a smoker that I smoke my stuff with. And then I use a knife, a cutting board, a basting brush, a spatula, large tongs for moving the meat as a rack, small tongs for moving the meat after it's been cut, a tray to carry the meat once it's finished, and, of course, drink of choice. This one's apple juice. And a meat thermometer, which goes into my final point, food safety. You always want to make sure that any food that you cook is cooked to the proper temperature. The USDA recommends pork spare ribs cooked to a minimum of 145 degrees for safe consumption. You also want to make sure that as you're prepping your food, you do not cross-contaminate. Like, I'm not going to use the same tools that I have first applied the barbecue sauce to my ribs and then again use them to baste the barbecue on the ribs after they're almost cooked. Alright, let's get into it. I have part of my ribs already on my grill, which you want to make sure your grill is clean before you start. I have already prepped this set. I am about to put these ribs on here. I cook them over indirect heat first. This part of the burner is off. These two are on. So that way it cooks at a low, slow temperature. Next, after it's cooked, I cut it, and then I take the barbecue sauce mixed with the drippings from the pork, and I baste it onto the ribs and let that caramelize and finish cooking. After that, I take my temperature probe and I put it in the thickest part of the meat, not touching a bone, and measure it for the proper temperature. There we go. It is at 150 degrees. Afterwards, you don't want to lick your fingers. Take a sip of your drink. Once these are done, I will grab them, put them on my tray, and bring them in to serve. This method is a relatively simple and inexpensive method for cooking and prepping pork spare ribs. They are easy to make and delicious, and as long as you have everything prepped how you want, take a total of about an hour and a half from start of prep to cooking minus the 2 hours marinating. Thank you very much.